Hi everyone, Carmel Sullivan here, Heart to Heart Medium. Once again, we're doing another fun podcast. I have a person here who I'm really excited to interview, Johnny Joy. Great name, by the way.
And my real name.
Really?
Yes.
I interviewed a gal yesterday, Sparkle, and it was her real name.
Sparkle Lindsay. Yes, she's been on my podcast
I think
as well.
I introduced you to.
Yes, you sure did.
Damn.
Yeah, see?
Well, I will tell you something. I'm really excited for you to be here, and I know it was hard because you have kids and you're a busy man. And
Just one, but she keeps me on my toes.
I think she's darling.
Well, thank you.
It's funny because you work at Mountain Country Radio.
Yeah, I'm the host of the morning routine.
Yeah, so his voice is a DJ's voice.
Well, you know.
You fell into the right spot, you know?
And that was as random as it gets, but we can get into that.
Well, I always believe things happen where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So I have Johnny here today because he has a very interesting story. It's getting to the heart of the matter. Mm-hmm. So he had an incredible backstory of challenge, I would say.
Yeah.
A little challenging.
A little bit.
So I'm going to have him tell his story, and we're going to get to the heart of the matter and see how this all plays out.
All right.
Okay.
Well, very cool. Again, Johnny Joy. That I stole my wife's last name. I'm not very common in that, but when I met my wife, she said, you know, if this goes any further, I want you to know I'm going after my doctorate. I want to be Dr. Joy. And I was like, well, and everyone at the radio station used to be like, you're going to be Johnny Joy. I'm like, no, I'm not. And then finally I sat down and thought about it. I was like, yeah, you know what?
It's a perfect name.
Yeah. And everyone assumes it's my radio name, but it is my real legal name.
I love it.
But yeah, my story is it's not that different. It's just kind of what I decided to do with it. I'm a fourth generation native of Colorado Springs.
That's unusual.
Yes, that's probably
highly unusual.
Yes, exactly. My second cousins are the Tuts. You've probably heard of Tut Boulevard and the Broadmoor Hotel. My grandmother was a founder of the El Pomar Foundation.
Really?
Yeah, so we go way back.
Wow.
And that's on my father's side. On my mom's side, my great uncle is Ralph Waldo Emerson, which is that's one I'm super thrilled about.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, I've got a signed picture of his that was taken in 1871.
Oh my God. Do you have any of his books?
Well, of course. Yes. Yeah, essays by Emerson.
His energy's in those books, you know.
Oh, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got his handwritten signature with a phrase written on a picture. That's like my most valuable, physical thing I have.
Keep that in the safe.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
I just remind myself of the combo once in a while. Anyway. And I grew up in District 12,
Okay.
Cheyenne Mountain, Skyway. I was one of the poor kids. If you know anyone that's gone to that district.
I do know.
Yeah, you say, yes. I took a left out of the parking lot instead of a right. A right led you to the Broadmoor.
Right.
I was going to Lower Skyway.
Down low.
Yeah, exactly. Parents separated when initially I was 3, got back together, and then divorced again when I was 8. Sister was 4.5 years older than me. Mm-hmm. Father got remarried. He found a new wife, and that came along with 2 girls. Mm-hmm. And my sister and I were then basically left by my father. We didn't talk for many years. But my mom, she stepped up. She got no child support, was working 3 different jobs while going to school, and made it happen.
Wow.
I only know now as a father. I didn't become a father until I was 40. I didn't realize exactly how intense that had to have been.
Yeah.
When I said I needed a new suit for the winter dance, I didn't get it. I was 13.
Wow.
And she made it happen. And my mom still lives here in the Springs. She's
cool.
73 and feisty as ever. So
I love moms who are feisty.
Yeah. She's doing great. And my upbringing, my childhood, pretty normal. There was none of the stuff, because we'll get into my alcoholism. That's kind of why I'm here and sort of where I went and where I come from now. Mm-hmm. It didn't develop at a young age, and I wasn't suddenly like, you hear these stories about I was 12 years old and I tried my grandpa's first beer and the lights shine down from the heavens. that wasn't the case.
What started you? How old were you when you started drinking?
High school, here and again. My sister was kind of a hellion.
Oh.
So I saw what she did, and I made sure not to do that.
Wow.
Because she got punished a lot. So it was more like once I got out of high school, but it'd be here and there, and then I got involved in food and beverage, and that's besides radio. leading up to the past, which has been 6 years now. Before that, all I'd ever done was work in restaurants, bars, and hotels.
Okay.
You know, that's still kind of my roots. People are like, you're a radio guy. I'm like, yeah, kind of an F&B guy, really. And, you know, I spent about 10 years with Old Chicago.
Okay.
And when I really started drinking, I can pin it now, looking back, because you can never connect the dots looking forward. It's only looking back that I can say it was August 11th, 2002.
Okay, what was going on then?
I was just casually having a beer with with a friend up in Denver where I was living at the time. I was living up in Westminster, and I get a phone call, and it's my aunt, and she says, "Hey, you need to get down to the Springs." I said, "Oh, okay. Well, what's going on?" She's like, "You just need to get down to the Springs now."
That's not a good sign.
Yeah, I know. And I said, "What is going on?" She said, "It's Julie, my sister."
Oh no.
And I said, "Okay, is she alive?" And she said, "You need to get down to the Springs." And ironically, I was at a restaurant called Rock Bottom.
Damn.
Yeah.
No coincidences.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Right, yeah.
And I hopped in my car, and I don't really remember the drive, but I remember walking into Penrose, into the ER, or the ICU, actually, and seeing my sister. You know, she was 28 with every hose and ventilator and everything
Oh my
possible
gosh.
sticking out of her.
I can feel that.
Yeah, and she was a corpse, I mean, for all intents and purposes. So after 4 days down at Penrose, we had to make the decision. My mom and I had to make the decision.
Yeah, that was hard.
Yeah, and you know, we were the only ones that had kept the faith that she was going to make it. You know, everyone now, again, when you talk about it after the fact.
They all said, "Oh,
Yeah,
we
they-
knew she was going."
Yeah, exactly. She accidentally overdosed on fentanyl. And she was 28 years old. She had her master's degree. She was a teacher. You know, so she didn't look like a junkie.
No.
No, not at all.
No.
But she had a lot of pain. She had a big knot between her ears, you know, and that was caused a lot by the abandonment of my father. Married
Right.
and not married, but engaged and broken up to
Wow.
5 different guys, 5 separate times. But she loved pain pills, and she didn't know what she was doing.
And she just,
She put a fentanyl patch on and aspirated, choked on her own vomit. Yeah.
I can feel that, by the way. And wow.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry, first off. That's
Well, thank you.
Sucks.
You know, it's going to be 20 years, which is unbelievable. I can't believe August will be 20
Does
years.
it seem like 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it does. Because I can talk about it now.
Before.
I held it down. I held it down.
Was that part of the drinking then?
Well, it turns out in retrospect, that's where it really started. Because
Wow.
I didn't feel anything for about 6 months because I was really busy taking care of mom.
Right.
You know,
Holding her up.
Yeah, exactly. Because watching, you know, now knowing having a child and a daughter, I mean, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine.
Nor do I want to either.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Exactly.
And I know people who have,
Right.
yeah,
And then
my business.
Right, exactly. And then about 9 months after that, I was at the same restaurant, and I get a phone call, and it's my mom this time. She's like, "You need to get down to Lutheran here in Denver." I
What?
said, "What is going on?" Sitting at the same restaurant, sitting at Rock Bottom.
That's bizarro.
Yeah, and she
Stay away
said-
from that restaurant.
Yeah,
by
oh
the
yeah,
way.
I haven't come back. and I said, "What's going on?" She's like, "It's your cousin Sean."
Oh no.
She had her master's in bioengineering. Real smart gal. Overdose. Accidental.
Same thing?
Painkillers. Yeah, had been without oxygen for about 45 minutes. 4 days. Lutheran. We had to make the decision. Her mom, my aunt, did.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 2 people I grew up with. My sister and my cousin.
You're like
Gone in 9
yeah.
months.
I have chills. You're
Yeah.
making me have huge chills.
Right. Oh, but just wait. There's more.
Damn.
Yeah, and so then after that, I'm dealing with supporting my mom, and then I'm worried about my aunt, and I'm starting to feel my own pain.
Right.
Again, this is just retrospect. I can see it now. And during this time, after my sister passed, I had been trying to develop a relationship with my father as an adult. Maybe to get the answers as to why you left, you know, because you get those questions even as a young boy, like, why wasn't I good enough? Why did you want these kids instead
And
of
it
me?
was never about you.
Yeah, of course. I know that now.
Now, but as
Yeah.
a little boy,
Of course.
No.
You know, trying to
Yeah.
figure that out. And so at, 25 years old, trying to think about making, it's an AA term that a lot of people use, making amends.
right.
And figuring out the whys, the hows, if he was sorry, if I was sorry, what it might be just to formulate a relationship, if nothing else, just to understand. And about 6 months after my cousin had passed, I get a voicemail from my stepmother, and she says, "Your dad died this morning. I thought you'd like to know."
Well, that was a lovely call. I
Yeah,
mean, the
a
way they said it.
voicemail, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's even crazier.
And that one was the big one for me. Because when my sister passed, one of the last things I said was she was going off to a retreat, and I said, "Okay, I'll see you on Monday. I love you. I love you." And I knew my sister loved me. Oh yeah, and my cousin. We all loved each other. We were a very tight family. Yeah. So there was never any question there. The question I never got answered was why from my father.
Wow.
I never got to know. I never got that answer. And so that's one of my biggest goals too. Is when I see people say, "Oh, my mom, my dad, or my kid," this I said, get it over with.
Find out,
move on, whatever it is. Don't leave that hanging.
I will tell you, a lot of people come see me for that reason.
Really?
Yeah, unspoken words.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing I tell people is to say the words to the people around you now.
Absolutely.
So you can clean up things, clear things up. Otherwise, you'll be talking to me and,
Right. You leave a mess behind. And that's when the knot starts to form between your ears.
Oh, I love how you say the knot between your ears.
And that's
I
been
notate that one.
That's one of the biggest terms I use when it comes to alcoholism. I mean, my knot, the only thing that soothed it was alcohol. Now, I was a bartender at the time. I was making $100,000 a year, working 3-4 days a week.
You make good money doing it.
Oh yeah, I had all the women and all the cocaine and all the booze.
Everything around
I had
you.
all the accolades. I was Johnny. I was Johnny from downtown.
Everybody loved you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I didn't. I was sad.
And you hit it well.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing is it didn't suddenly just become like boom, dad died, I'm going to start taking shots.
Right.
I started to notice one beer after work turned into 2, turned into 3, turned into, man, I'll have one at lunch. And then we're talking about a progression of 15 years.
Slowly, more and more and more, and not noticing.
Right. And get to the point where other people weren't noticing too.
Because that's who you were then.
Yes. Until it started to really get out of control.
Wow.
And boy, did it ever get out of control.
What was the, hate to use the rock bottom, but what was the rock bottom of your alcoholism?
There was a couple times. The first one was I, as I said, gotten a lot of money from an inheritance from my grandmother.
So you were blowing things?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I like straight up, let's go to New York for the weekend, first class.
Wow.
I remember I went to D.C. and I hadn't had a drink that morning, and I was so shaky I couldn't walk down the steps of the Lincoln Memorial, and I couldn't tell anybody why. I couldn't tell anyone why. Like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And I'm like, I just feel like, I don't know. Maybe I should get my blood sugar checked or something.
Wow.
And I had to go to the bar at the hotel when we finally got back and dip my head down like that to the straw because I couldn't even hold a glass up.
Wow. So you were that heavily into it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I knew that there was something, but I had to continue to hide it because I had a 5-bedroom house. I had 3 cars. I had a classic
You had everything.
MGB Roadster. I had suits and ties, and I was...
I bet more people saw it, but weren't telling you.
Oh, yeah. They absolutely
Yeah,
saw it.
I bet they were talking behind your back.
Yeah.
Like, Johnny needs some help here,
Yeah. And
He's fucked up.
yeah, absolutely. And that came to light when I finally got sober. It's sort of like when you have that girlfriend that no one wants to tell you about, and then you break
We all
up and people are like,
hated her.
oh, thank
God.
God. I'm like, why didn't you tell me? Well, yeah.
What did any friend ever come to you and give you a kind of like hey Johnny, you need to get help?
Yeah, it was the first time that I had a real major incident. My ex at the time, she saw how much I was drinking, but she didn't know the absolute quantity. So she had taken my debit card from me. And when you take somebody that's drinking at the volume I did and make them go cold turkey, they tend to have seizures.
Yeah, not good.
And that's what I had. I had a grand mal seizure. Ended up in Penrose for 5 days. The same same hospital my sister died in. And
Not
there
a good
I am.
memory.
Yeah, exactly. I don't remember a day of being there. I woke up and she had put me in Cedar Springs for 30 days. So I had 30 days of
Wow.
treatment. Cedar Springs, I assume they do some pretty valuable stuff. That was not the right move
For you.
for me.
No way.
No.
That's for mental illness.
Yeah.
This was for addiction.
Yes, exactly.
Which can float both ways, but
Right, but I wasn't harming anybody
No.
As far as physically.
you needed an alcohol rehab
Yes,
place.
exactly. So I kept bouncing in and out of sobriety. She had stayed with me until the last one where I decided to check myself into Parkview down in Pueblo because I said, I've got to get sober. This is an addiction recovery. I've got to get sober. And I went down there.
How old were you?
That was, I guess I was 31.
And when did you start drinking? Like really start drinking?
Really start drinking.
2002?
Yeah. I would say that's when it really
How old
ramped
were
up.
you?
That was 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So by this time, I'd been going at it pretty heavily. Mm-hmm. And she came down to visit me for family night with divorce papers.
Wow.
Yeah. So that doesn't necessarily help.
Did you have to stay a little longer after that?
No. In a way, it was kind of a relief because I knew in my
Was it?
heart that the relationship was over.
In your heart, you knew it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, keynote there.
Yeah.
I'm all about the heart.
Yeah. I mean, it was something that was pretty clear. And
Yeah.
I got home and all the money I'd spent on the tacky furniture and like the fake reading area with the fake tea set and the stuff and the couches no one sat on, that was all gone. Like she'd taken it all.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, cool. I got my house back. I went out to the garage though, and my 72 MGB Roadster was gone.
Oh.
That didn't go over well.
No bueno.
Yeah, I got it back.
You did.
I sold it, but yeah, that was I got a little feisty on that one. And I still wasn't good because I was trying to get sober for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
I was trying to get sober for my mom or for work or because people thought I should, but I wasn't ready. And then I woke up one morning. I'd already put a giant horseshoe-shaped bar in the middle of my living room. You
did?
Oh, like a 4,000-pound hand-carved.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because who doesn't have a bar in the middle of their living room?
Especially when you're drinking a lot.
Yeah, well, you don't need a kitchen table. I mean, that is my kitchen table. You can eat there. And
That was probably a pretty amazing sight when people walked in.
they're like, yeah, that makes sense. That seems about right. I am not surprised at all. And I woke up one morning and with a throbbing headache, and I typically didn't get hangovers at this point because I was drinking so much that it was more maintenance.
Right.
Than,
Just keep it going in
yeah,
the blood.
I had to, you know. But I had a throbbing headache, and I look, and there's a little bit of blood on the pillow and a little bit of blood on the floor. And I followed this trail of blood all the way out into the living room, and there's one of our big, tall bar stools and my favorite mug shattered on the ground, and the bar stool was tipped over. And I was like, that's bizarre. And I feel my face. I'm like, ow. And I go and I look in the mirror, and this whole side of my face is purple and blue and black and green.
Wow.
And I mean, my eye was full of blood, not just bloodshot, full of blood. So I still don't know what happened. But I went down to Cheers Liquor Store.
And went and bought more food.
Oh, went and bought more alcohol. Everyone said, "Oh my God, Johnny, what happened?" Because I'd convinced them because I had like 4 or 5 different liquor stores I'd go to.
Right.
Because I didn't want to look like an alcoholic. You know.
God forbid.
Yeah, exactly. If I'm there every 4 days.
Yeah,
you
they're
know.
going to looking like,
Yeah, and I walked in looking like that. Oh my God! I said, I was at work and I slipped and hit the cutting board. Boom! I didn't have a job, but they bought it hook, line, and sinker. They assumed I bought so much wine because I was always cooking with it. You know, but I
Man,
bought.
he was serving large groups of people.
Yes, exactly. Oh yeah, they probably all knew.
Yeah.
You know, of course they
Yeah.
did. I was buying box wine too because that way I could burn the box in my outdoor fireplace, and just had to hide
No
the bladder.
bottles.
No bottles.
So you were really trying to hold your image up,
Oh yeah.
but yet,
Oh, I was falling apart.
yeah,
100%.
that's crazy.
Yeah, and so my mom came over about 2 days after I did that to my face, and she said, "Will you please go get some help?" You know,
Wow.
there's a place up in Denver called CEDAR, part of UC Health. It's $30,000 for 30 days. You know, and I said, "I'm fine," and she just looked at me, and she said, "You're breaking my heart."
I was going to say, as a mother,
Yeah.
I could feel that.
Yeah, and she's like, "You're breaking
You're
my
the light
heart."
of her life.
Yeah, and it was that exact moment where I said, okay, fine. I said, let's go. And so I went to CEDAR and I did 30 days there, and the place was magnificent. Highly recommend. If you can afford rehab,
Go there.
it's a great option. And I was going through still a nasty time. I wasn't ready to come back to the Springs, so I moved to Newport Beach, California for aftercare. I lived in sober living right on
Wow.
Balboa Avenue with just a bunch of guys in an apartment complex.
Did you stay sober?
Yeah. Because one of the rules to staying at the sober living was they could swab your mouth whenever they wanted.
To
You'd
find
have
out.
you'd have to have a meeting in the morning and a meeting at night. But they gave you a beach cruiser. That was your mode of transportation. And the AA meetings I went to, Anthony Hopkins, Robert Downey Jr., Rob Lowe
Oh,
were
yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
It was sexy. Sobriety was fun. It was always 78 degrees and it was sexy, you know. But
I grew up in California.
yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, exactly. But after 5 months, you know, I thought I got a handle on this. I need to get back home.
Yeah.
And so I moved back into the same house, and I was back around the same people.
What about the bar in the middle of the room? Did that leave?
Mom took care of that while I was gone.
Good for
Yeah,
Mom.
yeah, she
She's a
got,
good woman.
Yeah, she got that cleared out. And
Chainsaw, I feel.
Yeah, exactly. And burned in effigy. On
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Street, you know? But I came back, and suddenly I was riding my mountain bike down Uinta to the AA meeting behind the McDonald's on Wasatch.
Wow.
That was not sexy.
No.
That was not pretty.
No.
And it was really cold in October. You know, but I tried AA and I kept doing all these things I was supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
and it just didn't really take. I met a girl and she was sober. She smoked some weed. I didn't
Yeah.
really consider that much of anything. And then Memorial Day of 2013, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I've been sober like 9, 10 months now. I just want a beer. I just want one beer. Like, I'll be fine.
No.
Yeah, I've never plowed through 3 beers that fast before in my life, until I just said, you know, oh, I forgot something at the store. I gotta, you know, and it just, and then when they talk about relapse happening harder and faster than anything you've ever experienced, it's absolutely accurate. I mean, it was
Wow.
like jumping into white water. I was back to where I was, but then I started adding pills
Oh no.
because I was racked with anxiety.
Wow.
You know, and so I went and saw this quack doctor, and he gave me a bunch of Ativan, and so
No.
oh yeah, and that wasn't quite enough, and it just ramped up and ramped up and ramped up to the point that I don't really remember. By the end, and we're talking, this is going to be March 15th. Will be 8 years of sobriety.
Wow. Congratulations,
Thank
by
you.
the way.
And by January of 2014, I was drinking 8 bottles of wine a day, plus a 12-pack, plus 4 milligrams of Ativan. I don't remember anything.
You were really lucky to be here on this
Oh.
earth, and I believe the people up there helped you.
Yeah, I kept trying to quit, and God says, I'm not going to fire you, so we need to come up with a with a
New
plan here.
We got a new plan for
Yeah,
you, buddy.
exactly. You keep trying to walk out the door, and I ain't going to let you. You know,
God.
yeah, I should have been dead a number of times. I mean, I've gone to county detox 3 times. I've woken up in 3 different hospitals.
I bet they have those pictures of, like Robert Downey Jr.'s
Oh, yeah.
picture. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You probably have a few of those
Yeah,
too.
I mean, I woke up one day. I think it was at Penrose again, and I had IVs in both arms.
Oh my God.
And but I looked down. And I was still wearing my khakis, but I was wearing a gown, which they dressed me into.
Okay.
But my button-down shirt was on the heat register, and I just what? She said, "Okay, well, I'm glad you're awake. We're gonna get you back over to county detox." And I just unscrewed the IVs from my arms, and I threw on my button-down shirt, went into the stairwell. I didn't have any shoes on. Don't know where those ever went, but I had black socks on. And I went down 7 flights of stairs, and I just walked right out. But I figured I'm walking right past my arms are covered, they're bleeding, but they were covered because it was a long sleeve shirt.
Oh my God.
And I walked right past the desk. Thank you, folks. Have a great day. They figured I was someone visiting, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, if you pretend like you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
you know?
They're not looking for the escapees.
Exactly, until they went and looked in the room and I wasn't there. So every year on my sobriety date, I go up to the 7th floor and I explain to them what I'm doing. I said, just so you know, this is what I'm doing. I was in that room. If you wouldn't mind, I would just like to take a trip down the stairwell. It keeps me honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so.
So finally, at the end, I told my mom relationships were failing, jobs were failing. I didn't even know where I was. I couldn't walk. I couldn't talk. And I called my mom. I said, Mom, I'm going to die.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna die if
She
I don't get
couldn't-
this
she
fixed.
couldn't. No.
Yeah, if I don't get this fixed. I said, I need to go to medical detox. That I know. Because I was on such a high level
Of Ativan.
of Ativan plus alcohol.
Yeah.
That I'm like, those are the 2 things you can't cold turkey off of.
Wow.
And so we went to, where was it? West Pine up in Denver, but I had to go to Lutheran first to detox before they could even let me in. My blood alcohol was at 0.54 when I checked
Wow.
in, which is,
Huge.
yeah, I mean, 0.4 is lethal.
Yeah.
So 0.54 is, yeah. I mean, then the nurses were like, this doesn't make sense. And then my mom came back in and she
Wow.
looked at me. She says, I can't believe I might have to bury my other child.
I would not want to be your mom.
Yeah.
In that point.
Yeah. And that's when the
I
universe
want to
spoke.
hug her a lot.
Oh, yeah.
I want to hug her right now,
Yeah,
actually.
she gets all the love now. I gave her a granddaughter as an apology. I was like, sorry about that.
And that's probably the best thing
Yeah.
yet.
But the greatest day of my life, and I call the universe, God, source energy, whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is you want to call it, spoke to me in that hospital room.
Wow. What did he say or she say?
It was as clearly as you and I are speaking now. I was staring up at the lights and said, "This is done." What's
You're
that?
looking- are you looking around going-
I'm looking around. It goes, not tomorrow, not in an hour, not in 10 minutes. It's done now.
And you knew
And I
no
rang-
one was
rang-
in the room.
Yeah, there's no one there. All I heard was the beep, beep, and the hum of the zzz. And I called my mom and I said, "Let's go." And I put myself through the detox, probably the most physical and mentally most uncomfortable I've ever been, for 72 hours. I stayed there
Wow.
for 5 days.
Wow.
And then I went instantly and got into therapy. And the guy that saved my life, he's still in town here. His name's Dr. Gary Forrest.
Good to know.
Yeah, he's amazing. I don't
sent
know.
a lot of people.
Yeah.
Different
He's
ways.
called the alcohol guru.
Okay.
And I went and sat down in his chair, in his big old leather chair, and it was all tore up around the handrests.
People-
And behind, yep. And,
People-
and I was like, you should get a new chair. And he's like, no, this is for assholes like you. And I was like, and I was like, excuse me? Do you know? and then so he just looked at me. He's like, okay, so why can't you pull your head out of your ass?
Wow.
And that was the moment.
He's real.
Yeah. And that was one of the moments that changed my life. Because when I suddenly was like, it's about accountability.
Yeah.
Everything, I am my own problem. I'm my own solution. You know? And if I want to fix this, I have to fix this.
Yeah.
I can't keep doing this,
Pointing.
you know? And so we started to get to the knot and start to untangle it. And it was sort of like the Goodwill Hunting, you know, like, it's not your fault. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's not your fault. I'm like, don't. It's not your fault. And
Yeah.
waterworks, you know?
Isn't that how it just takes that moment and the right person?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And you being at the right moment.
Yeah, and when saying that's, I'm either going to die or I'm going to, I've got a choice to make here. And I can go this way or I can go this way.
You had a path.
Yeah.
You come to that
Yeah.
path.
And,
you
obviously
know.
this path wasn't working real well.
No,
I
it
kept touching
wasn't.
the hot stove and I kept burning myself.
God.
You know, and I knew at that point too that my goal in this world was to help as many people as I could, as often as I can, wherever I can.
Well, I have to tell you something, because the reason I look at Facebook and I like to watch people's posts.
Yeah.
And somehow I got connected with you on the Facebook as a friend.
Yeah.
And I saw your post and I go, okay, that guy's making a difference. Every day you post something that's incredible in my mind. And to me, I feel like you are touching so many people in so many ways. And I've sent you people
Yeah.
to get help.
Yeah.
For you to
Yeah.
give your Johnny magic, I call it now. But I do believe without you going through that,
Oh yeah.
where would you be?
Well, and that's just it. You know, people say, "Do you regret it?" I say, "No." I've made the amends that I need to make, and that's with my mom.
Yeah.
And she said, "You never need to apologize. You're here." You know, she's like, "I never stopped loving you."
Right.
You know, she's like, "I'm just so glad that it
She
happened."
can still hug you.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the only person I think I really hurt. You know, my ex, she's gone on to do her thing, and I'm glad she's married. She's got a couple of kids, and I'm thrilled for her. I think that's terrific.
And now you're married to
Yes.
the love of your life.
Yes.
I love
And-
that.
And she's never had to see me intoxicated.
Wow.
My daughter has never had to see me hungover.
Well, I think that's important because kids who grow up with alcoholic parents have so much trauma.
Oh,
Because you don't know
100%.
what's going to happen next.
Don't know who's coming home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I grew up with a mother who was mentally ill. It's very much similar because you don't know who she's going to be 5 minutes from now.
Yeah.
You know, the nice mom or the mean mom,
Yeah.
and what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Exactly.
So I get it.
Yeah. And I mean, and that's
It's a blessing for your family.
oh, of course. You know, and that's why I tell people, you know, when I'm helping people get sober, you know, the biggest thing I want to stress to them, because if they want to go to AA, that's great. It didn't work for me. That wasn't my thing.
Right.
Rehab is fine,
But you need more.
but it's also very expensive, and you need to be ready for the world outside of rehab.
Right.
You know, a comfy bed, and a smoking place, and meals prepared for you, hugs and high
A dune
fives.
buggy on the
Yeah.
beach. Yeah.
That's not real life.
No,
You
no.
know, you need to be prepared for. I'm going to go to the Broncos game, and everyone's going to be drinking. What do I do?
That's a hard thing.
No,
Now?
no, because the easiest way I can explain is I treat it like a peanut allergy.
Okay.
It's like I love peanuts. I love them.
But-
I love them. But if I eat them, I'm going to die.
So no thank you.
Yeah, I can't. I can't do it.
I'm not risking
Yeah,
that.
exactly. And you know, I mean, Christ, I'm a DJ for a country music station.
Wow.
Where every song's about whiskey and beer. and-
Yeah. You're
know?
surrounded.
Yeah, of course I am.
So-
So people ask me, do I miss it? And I say, I miss the idea of it, the romantic idea of it.
Yeah, but-
You know, I would like to sit on a tailgate with one arm around my girl and a cold beer in the other, of course. But what would happen is I would have a cold beer in this one and I'd wake up in a different zip code without any pants on. That's what happens to me. My wife, she can have 1.5 margaritas. I've never understood the half part. I'm like, even after 8 years, I'm like, you left your, all right.
We always have a joke in my house. I have a two drink max.
Okay.
Otherwise, I don't feel good in the morning.
Yeah.
And
well,
I'm
of
not
course.
happy.
Yeah.
So You know,
Yeah, that's pretty much my wife, minus a couple special occasions when her and the girls get together.
you
know.
got to have a few of those.
Yeah,
when
but I
you're-
mean, we're talking few and far between.
Does any genetics in your family run with alcoholism? Do you know? I'm just curious.
Addiction.
Yeah.
Addiction. My mom's had her battles with pills, and
Okay.
again, I think a lot of it goes back to there's a lot of nature and there's a lot of nurture there.
Right.
When people figure out how they want to deal with trauma, some people use pills, some use alcohol, some use sex,
We were
some use
just talking
food, some
about
use
that.
gambling, whatever it might
The
be.
hole in the heart needs to be filled with something.
Yes.
And you're going to either fill it with good stuff or bad stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, getting sober is, what, does it take a while? I said, well, no, not really. I mean, the time's going to pass either way, so that's
Right.
relative,
God. So how many, you said 8 years now?
8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so let me ask you this. You're living your best life now.
Yeah.
Heart-centered living, I feel like you come from your heart center. You don't come from your head.
Oh, no. My head needs to be kept in check often.
So with that, what would you tell someone right now who is going through what you went through? What would be your best advice?
As far as in the throes of addiction,
Yeah.
talk about it.
Amen.
Do not hide it. There is no need to hide it. And one of the reasons I've decided to become so vocal about it, I mean, I've gotten on the radio station a number of times and I've talked about it,
Talking helps clear.
Yes. Well, you wouldn't bash somebody if they had cancer,
Right.
you know?
It's a dis-ease of the body.
Exactly.
Alcoholism is a dis-ease of the body.
Yes, and of the mind, too.
Right.
Can it be used as a crutch and say, well, I just have a disease, so there's nothing I can do about it? That's up to you.
Well, that's your decision, but
Yeah.
you know what?
But I mean, the biggest thing is the reason I started talking about it with so many people is you or I could walk out, and talk to that gentleman right over there, or go down to the 7-Eleven down the street
Mm-hmm. Right.
and ask anybody, do you or someone you know ever been affected by addiction? The answer is going to be yes.
Always.
So why are we not having this conversation?
I will tell you, I am in this world, I get very frustrated at certain things. And I think talking about what's shoved under the rug.
Yeah.
In my family, I grew up with a mother who was bipolar schizoid.
Okay.
And so half my family will not talk about their background. And I won't say which one, but the biggest thing too is like, how can you talk about that? And I have a brother who's schizophrenic, my
Yeah.
twin. We have fun times. He's a little crazy, or a little, not hugely crazy, but,
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? If you don't talk about it,
Yeah.
how do you get over it?
Right.
And also people understand who you are then.
Yeah. And that's why I'm an absolutely open book. I'll answer any question, anything you want to ask, I will answer because this is who I am.
I love that. And I'm a very much open book.
Yeah.
People go, can't believe she's saying that.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing is if you want to get out of what's happening in your head, people that drank or drink like I drank,
Right.
and use like I used,
Wow.
it's not because they're just enjoying the complex flavors of a Highland Scotch.
No, they're running away from something.
Yes, and they're burying it, and they're burying it, and they're burying it, and it's a daily practice.
Well-
It's immediate gratification for a problem that's much deeper.
It's funny is all the addictions, until you figure out what the root of the problem
Yeah.
is, you can't cure it.
Right.
You
Exactly.
can stop eating when you're an overeater. You
Yeah.
can stop drinking, but you're going to go back to it again until you clear
Yeah.
the real basis.
Right, and then also define who you are.
Yeah.
And that's what. And I'll be honest about this. That's one of my issues I had with Alcoholics Anonymous. Is when you sit down at a meeting of AA, what's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing you have to say?
Oh, you're an alcoholic.
Right, but I'm not. I was.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to define myself like that forever,
You're going to
no.
be an alcoholic.
Yeah, it's like when people say, "Well, I want to try and quit smoking, but I've always been a smoker." So then
Looping.
your time is limited.
Right.
You're going to go back to smoking.
I think too. When people define themselves in the negative,
Yeah.
how do you have to get out of that negative
Of
thought
course,
process?
but that's so much more comfortable and accepted in this culture.
yeah.
I mean, look at any kind of
Mm-hmm.
social media. If you're feeling a little down, and you can be like, "Hey, I got a promotion. I got 3 little blue thumbs,"
Yeah.
But
There's an
I just don't
addiction
think
to
I just don't think I'm worth it anymore.
So I have asked another question.
Yeah,
My biggest thing is I want to teach people is how to love themselves well.
yeah,
Did you have to teach yourself that?
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And the easiest way to do that is look back to saying, hey, there was day one of being sober. And now I can look at 2,800 and something consecutive days of being sober.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
and it's saying like I'm still here no matter what this world's throwing at me, whether you're 21 and you're listening to this right now, or you're 18 or you're 65, or in my case 43.
Wow.
You've made it this far.
Exactly.
You know, and if you want this life that you see on social media, or this life that you've only imagined, it is so possible, and it's so achievable. You know, you just have to make the effort to say, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
What about, I really feel too, is staying in the present moment.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
looking in the future, not
Yeah.
looking, the past is only here to teach us.
Yeah.
I don't want to do
That's
that again.
one of my favorite lines I tell people is I say, I said, are you trying to hope for a better past? That's,
I'm going to use that,
yeah,
by the way.
please do. I stole
Don't
that
tell
from somebody
anybody.
else. I can't remember who it was.
I'm going to write that one down
yeah.
because I won't remember.
Yeah. Are you hoping for a better past? It's not going to happen.
Well, I think if you can have humor too, and I feel that you do have humor. You
Yeah.
use humor in your life every day.
You have to.
Well, humor to me, I mean, in my family, we grew up, we had to either laugh or cry.
Right.
So we chose to laugh, and we can
Right.
make really funny things out of crazy
Yeah.
stuff my mother did.
Right. Well, it sounds very cliche, but you can be a victim or a victor.
Yeah.
You know, and for a long time I was a victim. Poor me, poor Johnny. But then I realized one day that my worst day is not worse than your worst day.
Yeah.
You know, my best day is not better than your best day.
Right.
Because you cannot compare. I mean, I could say, well, my wife, she's never even lost a grandparent. You know, she doesn't understand the pain I've been through, but her worst day is her worst day.
I mean, you can't compare somebody's pain to your pain.
No, but people try to.
And everybody has a different pain tolerance.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why I say, I hope that August 14th, which was officially when my sister passed, and we had to pull her off life support, I hope that that is the worst day I will ever experience.
Yeah.
I hope it is. You know,
I
so does that put
understand
my
that.
pain threshold a little bit higher? Maybe. But so if I get a flat tire, you know, shitty. Pardon my language, but
Yeah,
whatever, it
I know,
happens.
it happens. Shit happens.
Yeah, it does.
I feel like when people can get a handle on the ordinary stuff that goes wrong and not put it into the extraordinary,
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah.
You know?
And one of my other big pieces of advice that I want to make sure I touch on, lest I forget, because I'm very ADHD. So
Oh, I get
my
that.
wife's a behavior analyst, and she's like, "You exhaust me." I said, "You exhaust me too. You're too type A." Is personal development,
Mm-hmm.
personal development, and when people say, "What is that?" You don't have to sit and read self-help books. If you like to read, that's great. I can't. I mean, I can read, but like I'll read a paragraph and then start thinking about a recipe and then start thinking about a dog and
Then
you
you're
know,
like, on to the next.
Yeah, but audio. I mean, there's so many tools at our disposal. YouTube or Facebook
Right.
or Instagram, whatever it might be. Go to YouTube and just let it play. Because if I don't tend to this garden up here, the weeds will win. The weeds will overtake it real fast.
So true.
Yeah. I mean, it's very fertile soil up here, and it will grow whatever we plant.
Positive thought.
Yeah.
Positive input.
Yeah,
Whatever
and
you
it's,
hear,
again, it
taste,
sounds so
feel.
cheesy and cliche.
isn't.
Like,
It
just
isn't.
think positive. I'm like,
Yeah.
no. But I mean, Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest basketball player of all time because he shot one free throw.
Yeah.
He went and practiced, and he practiced,
Every
and
day.
he practiced.
10,000 hour rule. One
Yep.
of my favorite things in life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To be the best in life, you have to put the work in.
Yep.
You know, and
Yeah.
what you do.
Yep.
And whatever
So,
you do.
Yeah. So if you're just driving to work right now and you can listen to this podcast with the amazing guests you've had, do that. You know,
Yeah.
listen to some Tony Robbins or Les Brown or
I'm
or
always-
Simon Sinek or read. I mean, there's so many. I could just go off on.
Well, there's so many good things that you can find that you relate to yourself.
Yes,
Everybody
exactly.
has to relate to that
Yeah.
person who drives them. If you're finding negative people who are on the negative side, guess what happens? You're going to be negative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I rather attract positive people, and that's who I surround myself with.
Yeah. If you're hanging out with 9 millionaires,
Yeah.
good chance you'll be the 10th.
Yeah.
If you're hanging out with 9,
Losers.
guess what?
Yeah.
You know, if you're expecting that you're going to take in a bunch of trash and garbage and have a beautiful, extraordinary life, no.
My mother always she had adages all the time. And, show me who you hang with and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah.
And I never forget. We always laugh. My family we say them every now and then. Oh, Mom would say.
Yeah. Mom was right.
Yeah.
You
You know
know?
what? That woman taught me a lot.
Yeah.
Even through her mental illness, she taught me resiliency.
Mm-hmm.
And I always believe, and so I do share this a lot too, is to forgive people who have hurt you, is you can put them in the wheelchair and look at them with the compassion and how they got there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing. My dad taught me that. My dad was an amazing man, so I was very lucky.
Yeah.
So you being a father, I think you're going to instill a lot into your daughter with your wisdoms.
Well, I hope so.
It's very important. Daughter-father relationships, huge. You know.
Yeah.
So
And that's why I look at, what happened to my sister.
yeah.
She was trying to help developmentally disabled kids. She was trying to help everyone because she couldn't help herself.
She was filling a void.
Oh yeah, and she was looking for love, and the only thing that really filled that void was, unfortunately, pharmaceuticals.
Numbing.
Yeah, it was to numb it. Had she done what she did for everybody else for herself, she might still be here.
So sad.
But again, I'm not going to look back at the past and say, "Woe is me," because my sister died. One, she wouldn't want that.
No.
If I were doing that, she
She'd
would
kick your ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think she had 28. You had 28 years with her.
Yep.
You got to have the formative years with her.
Yep.
And you understand her.
Yeah, and that's all she needed. Because again, these people say it's so young, but was it?
I feel like
Maybe she lived enough.
I feel like through your talk that you've forgiven her too because you understood her
Yeah.
well.
Oh, of course.
I don't
Of
think you were
course.
even angry with her.
Oh no.
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 I feel like she'd give you a big hug right now.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, I know she would. She does often.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel them in the room, so
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
trying not to open. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's you have a good family up there who are
Oh.
cheering you on, your mom on.
Yeah.
Your mom's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Yeah, she
Her
is.
energy.
Yeah, and she had her own issues, but then when it took me getting sober to help my mom get sober,
Wow.
and I had to be pretty rough about it. It's only been 7 or 8 months now.
Yeah.
But hers was pills, and they were prescribed, so she thought she needed them.
I will tell you the whole drug industry. We
that's,
could do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, gets me in a little trouble on Facebook.
But yeah, me too. I got kind of dinged on. I had posted something, and it was gone in a matter of 5 minutes.
Isn't that weird?
And the other thing is, if you post anything that might be out of the ordinary,
Yes,
people don't see your post.
of course not.
So you'll get 1 or 2
Oh,
likes.
I got restricted 2 days ago because I dared question Justin Trudeau.
Oh, Mr. Trudeau?
Yes, I dared question the brave and compassionate
Solid
leader
man, yes.
that he is.
Yes, we won't go
Facebook
there.
didn't like that.
No.
No.
I'm sure Justin didn't either.
Yes,
He
but
probably would have taken your cryptocurrency.
right, yeah. But if you saw that the main article for today, the head of global community development for Facebook was just busted trying to have sex with a 13-year-old boy.
Oh my God.
These are the people that come up with the community guidelines.
Yeah.
So look who's got the button, and look who's feeding you what you're reading.
Isn't that it? Thank you for sharing that,
Isn't
because
that
I had no
interesting?
idea.
And Jeffrey Epstein's partner in crime, he was found dead in his jail cell this morning.
What?
Yeah, no cameras. Isn't that interesting?
Well, there's a lot of seediness to that, and
Yeah.
I'm sure they're trying not to.
Now
let
this
it come
podcast
out.
is going to be canceled. You know that, right?
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Well,
I better go look at my car before I get it.
Johnny, I just can't tell you how much I think you're important in this life.
Well, thank you. I think
Keep
you are
being
equally as
you.
important.
Well, I love what I do, and I
Yeah.
believe the work I do. I can get some people will say I'm doing the work of the devil. I'm not. I bless myself when they say it. I hope I'm not, because I don't leave people. A devil doesn't leave person better than when they came in.
Right.
And we need people to be out there speaking their truth,
Yeah.
not afraid,
Yeah.
and being real.
Yeah.
And I think you're all that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, keep posting those positive thought processes
Yes.
too, and the ones that you like are a little edgy.
Well, every once in a while, I got to just remind people that, pharmaceutical industry doesn't really care about you.
Well, there's a lot going on in that industry right now.
Yeah.
And it's
Oh,
scary.
absolutely. Yeah, of course it is.
And, open borders because, let's keep those drugs coming into the country.
Yeah.
So-
Only 2 countries on the planet can
Yeah.
advertise pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, no other. What's the other country?
New Zealand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but they have really strict
We
rules on-
don't.
No.
No, it's like,
No.
I heard something the other day. I was like, I can't believe I'm hearing this. I don't want to
No.
hear it.
But, side effects are okay as long as there's a Labrador dancing through the grass while they say
With
it.
daisies. Don't forget
Yes.
the daisies in the background.
And, again, we could go on and on about.
Well, I want to thank you. I want to say, living in the Heart Center to me
Yeah.
is not for the fearful,
Yes.
for the fearless,
Or the faint of heart.
or the faint of heart. Don't you love all the heart things?
Yeah.
But keep being you.
Yeah.
And thank you for doing this today. I know you had to take a lot out of your day. You had to. It's a Saturday.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
family time.
family time, but my wife also understands the value that it brings for me.
Yeah.
And like I said, if I can help one person or a lot of people as often as I can, as many as I can, whenever I
One
can.
person, all it takes is that one.
Exactly.
And so the big thing I always tell people is when you go up, you get met by all the people
Yeah.
who you helped.
Yeah.
Even the people you don't even know how you affected them.
Right.
Good and bad.
Yeah.
But you get to feel all that plus.
Yeah.
10 times.
Exactly.
So I'm hoping when I go up, I get to have a nice little,
Yeah.
party up there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, I think you're going to have that too.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'll keep it up.
Okay. On that note, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.